Hello everyone, my name is Eleanor Burgess and today I am presenting our paper, I Just Can't Help But Smile Sometimes, Collaborative Self-Management of Depression. This paper presents several of the main findings from my dissertation work. The central question of this paper was how do people managing depression collaboratively manage their mental health? Drawing on the concept of collaborative self-management from the clinical medical literature, the key concepts I'd like you to take away are first, key characteristics of collaborative self-management, including agency, reciprocity, temporality, and interaction, and second, the process of collaborative self-management, moving between awareness, planning, interaction, and reflection. In this study, we sought to understand specific instances of collaboration, how they unfolded over time, collaboration challenges, and how participants selected technologies to mediate this work. I interviewed 28 individuals managing depression who are living in the United States. I collected data through remote, semi-structured video interviews and a cognitive mapping activity. As you can see here from P21's cognitive map, I encouraged participants to use their maps to show who they collaborated with to support their mental health, as well as how they communicated with them. I analyzed the data following Brown and Clark's thematic analysis process. I invite you to read the paper for rich details about roles supporting collaborative self-management, specific practices, and the ways that technology mediated this work. For today, let's jump into some higher-level discussion about the work of collaborative self-management. As we discussed in the paper, previous social support literature presented a broad framework of collaborative support activities for individuals managing depression, but did not unpack people's day-to-day practices. We sought to better understand the work of the individual managing depression to facilitate these supportive interactions. We highlight that a crucial aspect of self-management is the interplay between one's social network, technologies, and goals. We view collaborative self-management in the depression context as the intentional engagement in activities with others as a part of mental health and wellness self-management. We use it to analytically focus on the work of the individual as they plan, seek, receive, and reflect on support from others. To make sense of these interactions and to understand what comprises the work of collaborative self-management, we derive 4 key characteristics: agency, reciprocity, temporality, and interaction. First, individuals had a great deal of agency in their collaborations. Participants determined when to collaborate, who to contact, which channels to use for the interaction, and what type of support they needed at a particular time. Sometimes, others initiated an interaction in relation to a participant's negative mood. For example, when P16's mom checked in with him about his late-night TV watching. However, participants described that it was up to them to decide how to respond to others' concerns. Second, reciprocity highlights the role that many participants took on also as providers of support. While individuals managing depression are often positioned as the recipients of care, participants also actively supported other people managing mental health needs. Dealing with depression over time meant that individuals often developed a set of strategies that worked for them, which they could suggest to others. However, supporting others could be emotionally taxing and required participants to actively draw boundaries to ensure that it did not negatively affect their mental health. Overall, while sometimes taxing, supporting others could also be fulfilling, enabling individuals to feel competent and an important part of their networks and communities. Third, collaborative self-management can be instantaneous, can happen over the course of a day, or can unfold over multiple days or weeks. For a longer-lasting mood or issue, there might be multiple interactions. For example, P4 had several conversations with his brother over a 2-week period about how to address an HR violation accusation. The temporal bounding between when an issue first occurs, when collaboration with others occurs, and when the individual managing depression feels that an issue is resolved or decides to stop trying to collaborate can vary by a magnitude of hours or weeks. Finally, collaborative self-management can manifest through different forms of interaction. For instance, an interaction could be what we call mood-focused support, with specific, explicit support for mood and emotion-related issues. Or it could be preventative support to maintain mental wellness without an explicit need to support a certain mood or issue. We also distinguish between social interactions which are verbal and others that are nonverbal or action-based. As we investigated this work, we found that there was a similar high-level process. From the perspective of an individual managing depression, we created a preliminary 4-step process to identify where breakdowns might occur, as well as the specific types of support that might be useful depending on the immediate process goal. We highlight the importance of the pre- and post-interaction work of the individual managing depression to facilitate and benefit from collaborative interactions. All this work is made more challenging because when participants are in distress, it can be harder to make decisions and to think strategically. While I share this process linearly, in practice, collaboration can be messier and can repeat and circle back to earlier steps. Before the process begins, individuals will sometimes experience a trigger leading to a negative mood or emotional issue, for example, stressful situations at work or interpersonal issues. However, not all negative moods have an identifiable trigger. The first part of the process is awareness of mood. Participants describe periods when they had a negative spiral of emotions, felt paralyzed by seemingly endless number of tasks, or had a negative experience. Often, others could note affect changes via body language, facial expression, and voice pitch when participants showed signs of a negative mood. Crucially, people have not yet decided how to act regarding combating or soothing the mood. Then, planning occurred, either deliberatively, through a conscious, thoughtful process, or more automatically, building on habitual processes. Planning was often technology-mediated, usually via text. For example, when P8 wanted to connect with his friend for support, he had to consider whether she would be in an area with better Wi-Fi or cellular coverage to determine whether to contact via Facebook Messenger or text. However, sometimes planning was unnecessary if someone else noticed their mood and offered support. Individuals carried out supportive interaction through a variety of practices in person or mediated by technology. For example, within a single phone call, individuals might check in, vent, and share advice. Participants often shared how they were feeling. However, not all participants could articulate their current mood or what caused it. Therefore, interactions also required managing the disclosure of feelings and the anticipated or perceived reactions of others. Finally, after the interaction occurred, participants reflected on the support, considering what the interaction meant for their mood and what their future actions would be. Participants who offered reciprocal support often looked to the other person to say whether the interaction was helpful. People may consider whether to reach out to another person or to the same person again to address the issue. In conclusion, looking toward the future, we invite others to join us to further conceptualize collaborative self-management. Clearly, CSCW researchers have discussed collaboration in other health contexts previously. However, perhaps collaborative self-management can give us a new lens to explore granular collaboration activities. Finally, we thank our participants, our reviewers, and the sponsors of this research. Thank you.